There's a thing called fear. Anybody wants to tell me what their greatest fear is? What's your greatest fear?
God.
Woo! You heard him?
What's that?
God.
That's his greatest fear. Awesome.
Greatest fear.
What's your greatest fear?
God in my grandma.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
God in my grandma.
God and your grandma. Anybody else?
He said his mama.
God. Got it. What you got?
God and family.
Okay. I love it.
Disappointing my mom and myself.
Disappointing your mom and yourself. What you got? Speak up. Come on. When we come back to you? Come back to you. What you got?
Just failing myself and stuff.
Feeling yourself. What you got?
Letting
Same
myself
thing.
down.
Letting yourself down. What you got?
Not being able to do what I like.
What would that be? Give me an example.
Like,
Because that shouldn't be a fear not being able to do what you like. Because a lot of times in life you don't get to do what you like. That should be a concern, not a fear.
What I like pursuing, what I like love to do.
So in other words, when I'm getting to the bottom, they say your fear is that failure.
Yeah.
You're afraid to fail. Okay. All right. What you got?
My fear is not being able to be like happy.
Not to be unhappy. That's a lot of fear that a lot of people have that they won't admit to.
Satisfied.
That's a fear that a lot of people have that will not admit to it. They're afraid that they won't be happy. They're afraid that they won't be happy. That's the interesting thing. I'm gonna come back to that. What you got, Coach?
I have a fear of not being able to keep up with doing things. I've always did things at a high level, and just as I progressed in life, I ain't gonna say it get harder, but shit get harder. So everybody used to me just being, and now I'm looking like it ain't really down, but you know what I'm saying? It just from a perspective point, you gotta change the perspective of where you actually are and what people are comparing you to, because you shouldn't be comparing yourself to nobody. But that's something I'm learning.
You don't know how to do it, you do it.
Exactly.
Right. No. The reason I like that, I love when everybody says fear God. When they say fear God, that's the number one responsibility you gotta understand. Not so much fearful, it's so much power of it. A lot of people fear the power of what can happen when your life changes. That's what people fear. They fear they're not gonna be received the same way. Or if people are gonna look at you differently because you're doing things differently. Well, the one thing I would say is look at yourself. If I was to go around and ask each and every one of y'all to give me what you think a man would be, everybody would have a different version of what they think a man should be. That could confuse you. But if you follow the word, it says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So you have no need to fear what can happen. Because if you're doing what's in line with what's supposed to be done, things will fall in line. May not be the way you want it. May not be what you thought you were going to get out of it. Because there were many instances where we had people that were supposed to help with this organization and didn't. Now, had we been afraid to move forward, none of us would be here now. But because we believed in what was going on and what the Lord was doing, we overcame that fear in order to be able to continue the work that was done and need to be done. If I was to stand here and tell you I don't fear things, I would be lying to you. But what I've realized is that there's very few things that you can change on your own. You need guidance in some things, because there's some things you just don't know. There's some things you just don't know. But once you figure it out, you have no need to fear anymore, because now you have the right tools in place to be able to effectively do what it is that you're trying to do.
Say that again, Coach?
And we have the right tools in place. Now I'm gonna tell you what I mean by tools, and then I'm gonna move on. Tell you for tools. I don't know if this man is struggling in math, but if he is, his tool would be this particular coach if he's good at math. Now, once this coach teaches him how to approach that problem, he no longer has a fear of it because he now has the ability to overcome it. That's where we fall short. When we get scared, we stay in this particular area because I'm too afraid to go this way, and I'm too afraid to go that way. I don't believe in myself enough. Listen, don't let fear be the reason that you don't try what your heart is telling you, unless it's not right. If it's right, give it what you got. You will eventually overcome that fear. Business is a very difficult thing to do. But if it wasn't successful, there would be no businesses. But I can promise you they were afraid when they first started off. But overcoming it, look what it became. There's tools we have in place for you to help you get where you're trying to go. In fact, there's tools in there to help each and every one of y'all to get to where y'all need to go. So you don't have to fear it. Let's come together and find a way to make it work. And then we don't have that fear factor anymore. We'll just be successful young adults and moving forward from there, right? Cool?
And I want y'all to understand failure is not a bad thing. So, because if you never fail at something, how do you ever learn? How do you ever learn anything? If every time you do something, it works out okay, then there will be no lesson in the journey.